Oh, yes.
What is it?
It was extremely special. It was very strong.
You'll be shocked to know this. Elvis gifted Ann-Margret a grand, round, pink bed crafted just for her as a symbol of their love. No, this is not shocking. Here's the shocking element. Once enraged by her husband's affair, Priscilla, Elvis's wife, furiously threw vases at them. But it is nothing. Now, Ann-Margret admitted in her book that their affair destroyed Elvis's marriage. So what was the entire matter? Next few minutes will make it clear. Ann-Margret's early life was full of experiences that shaped her journey to becoming a star in both acting and singing. Born on April 28, 1941, in the scenic village of Valsjöben, Sweden, she was raised in a close-knit family. Her parents, Gustav and Anna Olsson, instilled in her the values of perseverance and creativity. Growing up near the Arctic Circle, surrounded by serene forests and lakes, gave her a peaceful yet inspiring childhood. At just 5 years old, Ann-Margret and her family made a big move to the United States after World War II, settling in Wilmette, Illinois, near Chicago. Adjusting to a new language and culture was no small feat for young Ann-Margret. Her father had already spent some time in the U.S. before returning to Sweden, and in 1946, he brought his family to America for good. By 1949, she had officially become a U.S. citizen, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Ann-Margret's journey to stardom began early, with a natural flair for the arts. She quickly stood out in dance classes at the Marjorie Young School of Dance, and her mother, always her biggest supporter, handmade costumes for her performances. As a teenager, Ann-Margret dazzled audiences in school plays and local talent shows, revealing the star power that would soon take her far beyond her hometown. At New Trier High School in Illinois, she continued to shine in theater, but it wasn't long before her love for music took center stage. After graduating in 1959, she enrolled at Northwestern University to study speech, but her true passion couldn't be ignored. Teaming up with friends, she formed the jazz band The Subtle Tones, played in Chicago clubs, and eventually landed gigs in Las Vegas. It was there, in the City of Lights, that fate stepped in. Legendary performer George Burns spotted Ann-Margret during one of her Vegas shows and immediately recognized her talent. He invited her to join his 1960 Christmas show, which launched her into the Hollywood spotlight. With that golden opportunity, RCA Records came knocking, and soon she was appearing on shows like The Jack Benny Program. Her first movie role came in Pocketful of Miracles, 1961, where she held her own alongside stars like Bette Davis and Glenn Ford. But her big break came in 1962 when she performed the Oscar-nominated song Bachelor in Paradise at the Academy Awards, captivating over 40 million viewers. That same year, she shone at the State Fair, proving her incredible singing abilities. And then came Bye Bye Birdie, 1963, and Viva Las Vegas, 1964, where her sizzling on-screen chemistry with Elvis Presley sparked rumors that still fuel Hollywood gossip. Ann-Margret wasn't just about movies. Her 1961 single, I Just Don't Understand, hit number 17 on the Billboard charts, showing her talent had no limits. Over the years, she racked up 5 Golden Globe nominations, winning 2, and earned Grammy nods. With over 6 decades in the spotlight, Ann-Margret's legacy as a Hollywood icon remains as vibrant as ever. Ann-Margret's dual personality reveals the complexity of her character both on and off the stage. While she is widely recognized for her glamorous and bold performances, particularly in roles like Emily in State Fair, her true self is quite different. In 1962, Ann-Margret starred in State Fair, a remake of the classic Rodgers and Hammerstein production. Initially, she was considered for the role of the sweet and innocent girl, a character that aligned with the wholesome image Hollywood often preferred for young actresses at the time. However, her undeniable sex appeal and vibrant stage presence led director Jose Ferrer to cast her as Emily, the fiery and seductive bad girl of the story. This decision marked a pivotal moment in Ann-Margret's career, as it allowed her to break free from the mold of the good girl and embrace a more daring persona. The character of Emily was not just a departure from innocence. She was bold, confident, and unapologetically flirtatious. Ann-Margret's performance was electrifying, showcasing her ability to captivate audiences with her charm and charisma. The transformation from good girl to bad girl also reflected Ann-Margret's own journey as she began to embrace her sexuality and allure on screen. Despite her on-screen persona, Ann-Margret was known to be quite shy and introverted in her personal life. Growing up in Sweden and later moving to America, she faced challenges adjusting to a new culture. She often described herself as reserved, finding it difficult to express herself outside of performance. This introversion stood in stark contrast to the bold characters she portrayed. In her autobiography, Ann-Margret candidly discusses this duality. She explains how performing allowed her to unleash a different side of herself, one filled with confidence and vivacity that was often hidden away in everyday life. On stage, she transformed into a captivating performer who could command attention with her sultry voice and dynamic dance moves. Off stage, however, she preferred quieter moments, enjoying solitude and reflection. As Ann-Margret continued to rise in fame throughout the 1960s, she became known as a sex kitten, or the female Elvis, drawing comparisons to Elvis Presley himself due to their chemistry on screen during films like Viva Las Vegas. Her bold performances became iconic, but they also came with pressure. The expectations placed on her by Hollywood often conflicted with her more reserved nature. Despite these challenges, Ann-Margret learned to embrace both sides of herself. She understood that while she could portray sultry characters on screen, there was also strength in being true to who she was off stage. This realization allowed her to navigate the entertainment industry while maintaining authenticity. Ann-Margret's ability to switch between being a bold performer and an introverted individual made her relatable to many fans. They admired not just her glamorous roles, but also the vulnerability that came through in interviews and personal reflections. This duality has become an integral part of who she is, a talented actress who has entertained audiences for decades while remaining grounded in her true self. As we continue exploring Ann-Margret's journey through Hollywood, it becomes clear that this balance between boldness and introversion has not only shaped her career, but has also endeared her to generations of fans who see their own struggles reflected in hers. Margaret's relationship with Elvis. An interesting story about love, desire, and the complicated side of fame is the one between Ann-Margret and Elvis Presley. They became closer while shooting Viva Las Vegas in 1963. This was the start of a relationship that would change both of their lives forever. They met for the first time on July 2nd, 1963, at MGM Studios in Hollywood. When they were given roles as co-stars in Viva Las Vegas, they hit it off right away. Later, Ann-Margret said that their first meeting was electric and that they could feel a current running through them both. Their personalities were a great fit. They were both shy and lively, and they both loved music and performing. The rising fame of Ann-Margret from her previous movie, Bye Bye Birdie, made her a perfect match for the already famous king of rock and roll. And they quickly turned their work relationship into a loved one as they worked together. They were able to spend time together while making the movie, and they were drawn to each other in ways that went beyond desire. Their shared experiences in show business made them feel like they were meant to be together. Elvis was Ann-Margret's soulmate, and she said that they knew each other better than anyone else. Their relationship was strong and emotional, with lots of playful banter and adoring gestures. Elvis was known for giving grand gifts, and he once had a round pink bed made just for Ann-Margret to show how much he was interested in pampering her. They liked to have fun together and often played sexy animal games, which showed how well they got along off screen as well. But there were times when things were hard in their relationship. Priscilla Beaulieu lived at Graceland, while Elvis was shot in California at the time. They were still together. Priscilla learned more and more about how well Elvis and Ann-Margret got along, which made her jealous and caused stress. Reports said that Priscilla threw vases out of anger over their affair, which showed how emotionally unstable their relationship was. Elvis Presley's marriage to Priscilla Presley was deeply affected by his relationship with Ann-Margret. It led to a lot of feelings, jealousy, and eventually dissatisfaction. Priscilla was well aware of how well Elvis and Ann-Margret got along, which had been widely reported. She lost all sense of safety when she found out about their affair. In her book, Elvis and Me, Priscilla wrote about how upset she was when she found out Elvis had been cheating on her. Priscilla felt uncertain and worried about her place in Elvis's life after the affair. Being married to one of the most famous men in the world was already hard on her, and finding out that he had been cheating on her made her feel even worse about herself. Priscilla always felt like she had to fight for Elvis's attention, both with other women and with his busy work schedule. As time went on in their marriage, Priscilla felt more and more alone. Elvis's busy touring routine meant that he wasn't always at home. This meant that she had to mostly take care of the house and raise their daughter Lisa Marie by herself. They missed each other and felt ignored and unappreciated during this time apart. Afterward, she talked about how she would wait by the phone for hours, hoping to hear from him while he was elsewhere. Elvis's rising dependence on prescription drugs made things even more difficult in their marriage. He became more and more crazy and unpredictable, which made it hard for Priscilla to feel personally connected to him. She said she felt more like a carer than a partner because she had to deal with his mood swings and make sure he was healthy. Both of them were under a lot of stress because of their fame, but Elvis seemed to get more and more out of control while Priscilla tried to find steadiness. There was a big cloud over Elvis and Priscilla's marriage marriage because of Ann-Margret. They got married with high dreams for their future together, but things turned out very differently. Elvis had affairs with other women besides Ann-Margret. He was known for having many during their marriage. People didn't trust and liked each other because of this behavior. Priscilla felt betrayed even more because she was also trying to be independent. As she found her voice and stood up for herself in the relationship, things got worse. She realized she couldn't take being treated like an extension of Elvis any longer. She wanted to be seen as a unique person with her own goals. This need for independence went against Elvis's hopes that she would stay devoted and obey him. After being married for 5 years and growing apart, Priscilla decided in 1972 that she had to take charge of her life. The couple had grown farther apart because Elvis was always on the road and abusing drugs, so they rarely spent time together. In her autobiography, Priscilla wrote that she felt forced to find happiness outside of her marriage, which led to an affair with Mike Stone, her karate teacher. When Elvis found out this, he reacted very strongly. He felt cheated and guilty because he had been unfaithful himself many times. When Priscilla talked about a very violent time when Elvis made love to her against her will after finding out about her affair, their relationship ended. When Priscilla realized that their relationship had turned bad, it was a big turning point in her life. After 6 years of marriage, Priscilla finally asked for a divorce in 1973. There were some good things about their split. They left the courts hand in hand and said they respected each other, even though their breakup was bad. In talks after they got divorced, both of them said they still loved each other very much. When things were going badly, Priscilla's mind was full of confusion and pain. While trying to make it as a single mom, she dealt with thoughts of not being good enough and betrayal. Even after they got divorced, she was still determined to raise Lisa Marie with Elvis and keep his memory alive. As word of their relationship spread, it got a lot of attention from the media. There were rumors about what kind of relationship they had, and magazines even suggested that the two stars might get married. There was trouble in Elvis's relationships with both Priscilla and Ann-Margret because of this chatter. Friends of Elvis said that the attention the media paid to his relationship with Ann-Margret hurt him a lot. However, Ann-Margret was set on staying single and continuing her acting career. Some people thought that he would have married her if she agreed to give up her job. Their fundamentally different goals caused tension as they tried to figure out how they felt about each other while dealing with pressures from outside sources. Ann-Margret and Elvis knew that their relationship couldn't last forever, even though they had a strong bond. In her book, Ann-Margret wrote about how she and Elvis both knew they had to split up because of Elvis's obligations, especially his upcoming wedding to Priscilla on May 1st, 1967. After only 1 week, on May 8th, 1967, Ann-Margret married actor Roger Smith. It was sad and sweet that their partnership ended. Even though they loved each other very much, they knew they had to move on with their lives. Both of them stayed close friends, even after they married other people. Elvis kept up the practice of sending flowers to Ann-Margret before each of her Las Vegas shows until the day he died. Even though they were having problems on their own, Elvis and Ann-Margret stayed close friends in the years after they broke up. Whenever they could, they would go to each other's shows in Las Vegas and meet up backstage afterward. Despite their own problems, they stayed close. While Elvis struggled with addiction, which ended in his sad death in 1977, Ann-Margret fought her own demons with alcohol, but was able to beat them. Even after they broke up years ago, Ann-Margret's emotional link to Elvis was still clear. She was very sad about his death and was the only one of his main ladies who went to his funeral on August 18, 1977. She wrote in her autobiography that she would never fully get over losing him. He is a part of me, rare to have such a friend as Elvis. When they looked back, both stars saw the special bond they had while they were together. In talks and writings, Ann-Margret talked about how much they were alike. They both came from nothing and became famous quickly while dealing with personal problems. In the middle of the chaos of famous life, they found comfort in each other. Many people think of their relationship as love and say that it could have changed both of their lives if things had been different. Many people wonder what might have happened if they had married instead of going their separate ways. But it is clear that their relationship changed both of them in a way that can't be erased. A lot of emotion, heartache, and friendship can be found in the love story between Ann-Margret and Elvis Presley. From their electrifying energy on Viva Las Vegas to the sad end of their relationship, their story shows how complicated love can be when you're famous and have problems in your personal life. Even after ending their relationship, they stayed deeply affectionate towards each other throughout their lives. This shows the strong bond they had as soulmates navigating the rough waters of Hollywood together. Fans still remember this part of their story as an important part of the lives of two famous artists whose paths crossed in unforgettable ways. So this was something going on in the love triangle of Elvis, Ann, and Priscilla. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and do tell us in the comments who suffered more in this love triangle.